Hello everyone. Today I'll be explaining the usage of AWS Lambda for Java version as an external API for a new feature. So let me give the context. Say for example, we have a monolithic application and we want to add a new feature into that, but doesn't want to integrate write more code on that application. So what we can do is that we can use AWS Lambda as an as a code base for the new feature, and we can call that using API endpoints from the monolithic application or in the monolithic application. We can achieve this using, as I said, using AWS Lambda. So let's go through. Prior going into the coding, I'll just explain what what are the basic things we need to configure, things we need to do to configure a Lambda. So let me go to my AWS account, which is my personal account, and here I have a AWS Lambda, which says personal underscore API Lambda, and like I have configured this. When we create a Lambda, we need to provide a runtime setting. Then we need to map the handler package and the class name. The handler method remains the same, and then we need to provide the timeouts and memory usage and then permissions like this one. This is a customized role just to invoke the Lambda and log into CloudWatch. So this role has these two policies. And then I had enabled functional URL with auth type none, and auth type is none because we are validating the API calls with a secret key, which we will be defining in the calling application, and that secret key will be configured in the Lambda as an environment variable so that we can validate the requests. Now this is the environment variable here. This is the secret key, and this is the secret value. All right, so let's dive into the code and let's see. So this is the Lambda, and prior to getting into the code, let me explain. Like this is a Groovy project, and the build tool is Gradle. So here is the build.gradle file, which maintains all the dependencies and other build related factors. So in dependencies, I have the Groovy dependency and the AWS Lambda core dependency, and this dependency deals with mapping JSON object to a map or vice versa. I am using a class called object mapper, which comes from this library. All right, and this code basically what it does is it packages everything into a zip file with all the dependencies and the class files, and then we deploy that file to AWS as a zip file. All right, so let's get into the code. So this is the folder. Inside main I have Groovy, because the plugin which I have provided is Groovy. If we provide a Java, then there will be another. Okay, this is already configured in IntelliJ, in the latest version of IntelliJ. So this is the main package, and inside that we have constants, handler, service, utils. So let me go to handler. So this is the API handler, and this is the class, and this is the package which is configured over here. If I go to configure it, oh, okay, all right, it's over here. This is the package, and this is the class and everything. So now let me walk you through the code. So the request handler, we need to implement this request handler, which you can see is coming from this package, which is the com.aws services lambda runtime, which resides in this lambda dependency. If you look into this resides in this lambda dependency. If you click on this, it will it will go to that class. See, this is the jar, this is the package structure, and inside that this is the class. Sorry, this is the class. All right, so here we need to define the input and the output format, like what way we are expecting the input and output. So like we can customize this. Say here we have a map of object and object. We can have an object, like we can have something like this. If we just comment this and say object input, then this input will have all the event related details, like AWS consider this as an event, so event object, so everything will be residing in that input variable. Okay, so we need to implement this method which is defined in request handler interface. So now uh, we are inside this, so this method gets invoked. This is what is defined over here. And uh, and uh, let's go through, let's get inside it. So we have the input, and what I'm doing is I'm just doing a having an internal request ID to just track the logs and track the process which occurred between these two, like between one request. So this is the response type. This is defined in Groovy. We define map in this way in Groovy, and this is the log which is derived from which is I think which is from Groovy itself. Yep. So this is coming from Groovy package, and then this is the method which will be doing all the processes. This is inside a try catch. If any exception occurs, it will catch and print it. And over here I'm returning the same response map which is being populated from this process lambda method. So let me go into this. So now process lambda is having an input. So as I said, first we will validate the secret, so that we know that this request is coming from our defined API, our defined callers. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the input and I'm fetching the headers. Like I'm passing that into the header map of that request. So this is the header, and like this is the key app secret which is defined in the application calling application, and this is this is the key which is defined in the lambda. So let me go back. Yeah, so I'm getting this from the calling application, and this is from the lambda, and comparing. If it's true, then I'm returning true, and if it's false, then it returns false by default. So based on that, if it is false, then I'm returning is success is false, and message and a proper message which says application secret and lambda secret doesn't match, which can be customized later for as per the business logic. So now there is one more thing, like there is a map in the input in the event object of the lambda which says query string parameters. So I'm extracting that, and I'm extracting a key called type. So based on type, I have defined the operations. So like if type is create, basically create object, and then then I'm passing the input, like this is the input object, and this is the object mapper which has been derived from which has been used from this package. And I'm in the input dot body, whatever JSON we provide, that is serialized and stored in the body object in the in the body key, and I am converting them that to a map using this read value method of object mapper, and that is returned as a map. So with parse input, I got the I got the like I got the input in the form of a map, and based on that, and then I'm passing that to create operation method which is written inside the handler service itself. So from here, like whatever we do, that would be specific to a business. Like say we want to create an object, or create multiple object, or do some business operation inside that method. So we can call the respective service methods to implement the business logic. Over here, if we find any, if it returns true, like if the process returns success, then I'm passing is success true messages this, and whatever data we need to pass in, that will be passed in this. And like the the conversion done is done internally through a lambda itself. So like if you would pass in over here any object, then lambda it the AWS lambda will internally convert that to a serialized string and do a to and fro, like internally basically. So this is for the create operation, similarly for the update one and the delete one. And if the type is unspecified, then we return this message with a with flag, with this flag. Now, so this returns this response, and I'm simply returning this back from lambda to the caller method. So this is kind of a template which is designed to use AWS Lambda as an API Lambda, which with some new features. So this will include your features, and this can be called, like, from this will be a global point, this will be a global feature which can be used in many of the applications if needed, based on the signature of the request and response and the URL. So let's test this in Postman. So this is the Postman application, and this URL is the URL which corresponds to this function URL. You can see 30y6. It says 30y6. So now in the params, I am passing type as create object. All right, and in the header, I am passing the app secret as test123 exclamation, which is what configured in that lambda application. So let me call this. You can see this is the data, this is the message, this is the flag is success, create operation request process successfully. And you can see this is the payload which we have passed, and that is serialized. And also a dummy. Now this is a dummy request which I have passed. You can pass anything which is relevant to your business logic. So this is for type create object. If I want to do for some update or delete, we can pass in the required type value, and then we can call them. So like for this, we have a data, and the message says delete operation request process successfully. So I hope this clears some of the doubts if someone having on how to use Lambda as an API, ex- API Lambda. And I'll upload the code in GitHub and share the link in the comment. And yep, okay, thank you. I hope you like the video.